Welcome to Mindful Prehab, a 30-minute session designed to strengthen and balance your body. In today's session, we'll be doing a dynamic warm-up, some breath work, single limb exercises, and we'll finish with some stretches. You don't need very much room to do this session, and you also don't need any equipment, but I have made another video to show you the exercises using equipment, which can be found around here somewhere, or I have linked in the description. I recommend doing this session once or twice a week to supplement your regular training program, or when you're feeling burnt out, to connect your mind with your body. I recommend doing it barefoot if you can, and heading out into the garden, doing it on some grass, but if you can't do that, then doing it indoors is absolutely fine. I have made a Spotify playlist to complement this workout, which can be found in the description below, and also a downloadable PDF document listing all the exercises so you can do them whenever you want. If this is your first time doing this video, then I'd recommend having the sound on, but if you're revisiting and you feel confident with your form, then you can follow along with me and have the sound off. Let's delve into the workout. I'm using this blue mat so I can be in the garden and in the fresh air, but a mat isn't essential for this workout. We're going to do 5 reps of each, starting with reaching up to the sky and then down to the floor. Breathing in as we come up and breathing out as we go down. Do 2 more reps. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out, and then staying down and walking forward into a high plank. We're going to lunge one of our legs forwards, reaching up to the sky and then bringing our elbow down to the floor if we can, and then swapping legs. Reaching up, bringing our elbow down. We're going to do 3 of these each side. And just working within your limits, making sure you're comfortable, not forcing your elbow down if you can't reach all the way down. Breathing in, breathing out as you come down. Now we're going to sit back into down dog and then come into up dog, doing 5 reps. Breathing out as we come back, breathing in as we come forward. This is a really good exercise to mobilise the whole body, starting at our ankles, our hamstrings, our lower back, our shoulders, and coming all the way down into our wrists. Taking it nice and slow. Then we're going to come into all fours and go into cat-cow. Pushing the ground away and tucking our tailbone under, and then reaching up to the sky with our tailbone and our head. Breathing out as we come down, and breathing in as we come up, doing 5 reps. Really extending all the way through your spine. Next, we're going to circle our wrists 5 times each way, nice and slow, finding those juicy points, those bits at the end of the range of the motion which might feel a bit sticky. Then once you've done 5, circling the other way. And if you want, you can always stop in those higher ranges of motion, just working away at those sticky areas. Next, we're going to point our fingertips outwards and then move side to side 5 times each way, so 10 times in total. Just working within a comfortable range of motion. And then finally, tuck under your toes and point your fingers back within a comfortable range and just press back 5 times. Next, we're going to do something which is called shin box, and this is really good if you've been sitting at your desk all day. So just bending at the knees and then switching sides, resting back on your hands. You should feel mobility in your hips. Then if you are quite mobile, you can come up onto your fingertips. And for those that are really mobile, you can use no hands at all. But I find that a bit tricky, so I tend to come back onto my fingertips. We're going to go 5 times each way. Do a few more if you feel like you really need it. Next, we'll mobilise our ankles. So sitting back on one of our legs and then pressing our weight forward into our foot, we're going to circle 5 times each way, just finding those juicy spots in the end of the range of motion. And then we'll go 5 times the other way, and you should really feel this in your Achilles tendon, up into your calf muscle. If you want to spend a little bit more time on this, then I would recommend pausing the video and just working away. And then swapping legs and doing the other side. And what you might find is one leg or one ankle is a little bit tighter than the other. My left ankle is much tighter than my right foot, so I tend to spend a little bit more time mobilizing this one. What we'll do next is sit into a full squat, and if you can't get your heels all the way to the ground, then what I recommend is finding a cushion, a pillow, maybe grab your slippers or roll up a towel or a t-shirt and putting it underneath your heels, and then just wriggling away and finding a comfortable spot. Next, reaching up with one arm into the sky 5 times. And then on the 5th rep, just holding up for a few seconds. Then swapping sides, reaching up to the sky. You might find again that one side is a little bit looser than the other one, just depending on your hip mobility, ankle mobility, and how you can twist your spine. Holding up on the 5th rep. Next, you want to stack your fists on top of each other with thumbs up or thumbs down. And we're going to bow down and then reach up. Bow down, reach up. Do this 5 times. You want to keep your heels on the floor if you can. If you're struggling a little bit, then I'd recommend putting something underneath your heels. And the final exercise of our dynamic warm-up. Tuck under your toes and sit on your heels. Tilt your pelvis and lean back so you get a little hip flexor stretch. Now place your hands forward and then rock back into a squat. Now come back into that hip flexor stretch position and then come back into a squat. And we're going to repeat that 5 times. And if you can, or if you want, you're going to transition between these 2 moves without putting your hands to the floor, just to test your balance. But it's perfectly okay if you want to put your hands to the floor, because this is just a warm-up. So we're wanting to reach those 2 ranges of motion with comfort and ease. That's the dynamic warm-up complete, and next we're going to work into our breath work. You want to sit on your heels, but if that's uncomfortable, place something underneath your ankles and or in between your bottom and your heels. Sit back on your heels, and I want you to breathe in and swallow. Make a tube with your mouth and press your tongue to the bottom of your mouth and breathe out, coming down. Breathe in, come up, swallow, tube your mouth, press your tongue down to the bottom of your mouth and breathe out, coming forward. You're going to do this 5 times. When you breathe in, I want you to breathe all the way in as much as you can, and then the same as you breathe out, fully exhaling all the way when you're coming forward. Moving into the next exercise, on your inhale, come up onto your knees, do a mini back bend, and then exhale, coming down. Breathe in, come up onto your knees, take a gentle back bend and come down. It's just a soft back bend, and I'd like you to keep your eyes open because some people can feel lightheaded doing this. So I don't want anybody to fall over. 5 reps of each breath, opening up the shoulders and feeling the breath move into the abdominals, the rib cage and the front of the chest. And then after the 5th rep, connect your elbows to your knees and lean forward, pressing your hands into the ground. Bring your head back and apply a little bit of pressure on the back of your neck with your head, and take 5 deep inhales and exhales. And you should feel your chest and your tummy expanding and pressing onto your legs. And if this feels a little bit uncomfortable, then it's because it should be. It's forcing you to be more conscious of your breath. Fully inhaling and fully exhaling. When you've finished 5 reps, come on to all fours. Breathe in, bring one leg back and look up, and breathe out and contract your leg in towards you. Breathe in, bring your leg back. Breathe out, contract your leg in towards you. If you don't want to bring your knee all the way in, you can just bring it to the floor, just like we did in cat-cow. And once you've done 5 reps, come to the other side. Breathe in, bring the leg back. Breathe out, bring the leg in. Pushing through the ground as you come in. Squeezing all of the air out as you come in, and breathing as much air as you can in when you come back. After 5 reps, that is our breath work done. And we will come into our single limb exercises. We're going to start with our weakest leg first, and mine is my left leg. So I'm going to stand on my left leg, parting my toes and spreading weight all throughout my left foot. I'm going to hinge forward and bring my right leg back, and then stand up. So I'm going to hinge forward for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stand up. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. We're going to do 10 reps on each leg. And the thing to remember whilst doing this is keep your pelvis as level as possible and keep your back foot pointing down. I've got my right arm coming forward because this can be done with a kettlebell, which is shown in Mindful Prehab Part 2. After 10 reps, we'll go onto our other leg, parting the feet, even pressure throughout the whole foot, coming forward for 4, standing up for 2. Standing up for 2 is where your power is going to come from, and you might find that one leg is stronger than the other leg, so you know for next time to start on your weaker leg. Make sure that your pelvis is staying flat and not tilting to one side, and using as much power as you can to stand up for 2. After 10 reps, we're going to place our weakest leg forward, mine is my left, and lunge back with the right, and then stand up into a sprinter knee. So come back for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stand up for 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stand up for 2. So you want to drive that back leg forwards and up. And if you can, keep your body as upright and still as possible, bracing your abs, pulling up into your pelvic floor muscles. This exercise can be done with a weight as well, which I show in Mindful Prehab Part 2. When you've done 10 reps, swap legs, come back for 4 and up for 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. These exercises are really good for balance and also to identify weaknesses in one side of the body from the other. Once you've done 10 reps, we're going to come down onto the floor, laying onto our back and bending up our knees. Reach around the side of the body and you should be able to just about touch your heels with your fingertips, and this means that you're in the correct position. Starting with the weakest leg first, so mine is my left leg, so I'm going to bring my right leg off of the ground, placing my fingertips on my pelvis, and I'm going to do 10 single leg bridges. I've got my fingertips on my pelvis to make sure that I'm staying flat and I'm not tilting to one side. Powering up and coming down slowly and making sure that my pelvis is tucked so I haven't got too much of an arch in my lower back. Once you've done 10, swap legs. Make sure that your feet are in the right position by reaching around and touching with your fingertips. And then do 10 reps on the other leg, placing your fingertips on your pelvis to make sure that you're staying flat and not tilting. Imagine you've got a bowl of water on your hips and you don't want to go one side to the other, so the water pours out of the bowl. So we've done enough work on our glutes and our hamstrings. We're going to come into working the top of our body, into our scapula. You can do this on all fours, in the press up position on your knees, or you can come into a full plank position. And we're just going to isolate the scapulas, keeping our arms completely straight. So pushing the ground away from us and then slumping in and coming all the way down into our scapulars. If you've got particularly tight shoulders, you might find that the range of motion here is quite restricted. It's quite a small motion and you should feel a bit of a burn in the back of your shoulder blades. Once you've done 10 reps, come onto your stomach, keep your feet onto the ground and relax your glutes. You're going to bring your arms up into a Y, thumbs up, come into a T and then a W. And in this position, when you're in the Y, you want to bring your shoulder blades down. When you're in the T, bring your shoulder blades down and back. And when you're in a W, bring your shoulder blades together like you're squeezing a nut in between them. Keeping your glutes relaxed all the time. There's no effort in the lower back. This is all about your scapula. So you don't need to come up very high. And if you need to take a rest between any of your 10 reps, then just come down, take a rest, and then start again. All the time focusing on bringing your shoulder blades down and together. So we'll do one more. Once you've done 10, you can sit back into child's pose with your arms extended or bring them back around you just to give your shoulder blades a little bit of a rest. Next, we're going to come back to our glutes and hips. My weakest leg is my left leg, so I'm going to lay onto my left hand side, bending my underneath leg with the top leg extended, and I'm going to come up into a side bridge for 10 reps. And what you want to make sure in this is that your elbow, your hip, and your straight leg foot is in a line, and that your pelvis stays completely stacked. To make this a little bit harder, you can lift that top leg off the ground if you want. Moving on to the other side, ensuring that your elbow, your hip, and your foot is all in a line, your top foot. Do another 10 reps, and you should feel this into your bottom glute and into that bottom hip. This can be done with weights, which I'll show you in part 2 of Mindful Prehab. You just want to ensure that your pelvis doesn't come forward or back in that exercise. So moving back onto your weaker side, I'm going to come into clams. So ensuring this time that your elbow, your hips and your feet are all in a line. You want to come up and then open up into a clam. This is a bit of a 1980s aerobic exercise, but excellent for your glutes, your hip mobility, and also for your hip flexors. You want to do a little pause at the top. You don't want to do this exercise too fast. This is 10 reps. Really squeezing at the top. And then coming on to the other side, which should be your stronger side. Making sure your elbow, your hips, your feet are all in a line. You want to come up and then squeeze at the top for 10 reps. This can be done with a band, which I'll show you in the other Mindful Prehab video. You might find that one side is much more flexible than the other side. We'll finish off on one final exercise, which is mountain climber and holds. To get into a plank position, you want to come onto all fours, then extend one leg back, and without moving your body, bring the other leg back. We're going to do 8 slow mountain climbers, and then on rep 9 and 10, we're going to hold for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to hold the next one for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Other leg. 3, 2, 1. Don't collapse at the end. Bring that leg back into plank. That is our exercise session finished. And to finish up Mindful Prehab, we're going to come into our stretch session. The first stretch is our hip flexor stretch, where we want to come into a 90-degree lunge. We want to tuck our pelvis under and squeeze our back glute, and then gently move forward so we can feel a hip flexor stretch. So a stretch down the front of that back leg. If you want, you can raise up the arm, the same arm as the back leg, into the sky, keeping your shoulder down away from your ear. And during these stretches, you want to do similar breaths to what we did in our breath work. Taking big inhales in and exhaling all the way. And what you'll find when you do your inhale during this stretch is you should feel a little bit more of a stretch into that hip flexor. You can take a very small back bend just to give a little bit more of a stretch if you need to. We're going to hold this for 45 seconds. So gently bring that arm down, swap your legs over, making sure you're in 90 degrees with both legs. Tuck your pelvis, squeeze your back glute, and then take a gentle lean forward, feeling the stretch in that back hip flexor. And if you want, you can raise the same arm as the leg is back, holding it for 45 seconds and taking big inhales and big exhales, making sure that your shoulder is down and away from your ear, that you're tucking that pelvis and that you're squeezing that back glute. If you need a bit more of a stretch, you can take a very, very small back bend, hinging at your waist. Next, we're going to come into something that is called Modified Pigeon, which I got from a flexibility program by G&B Fitness. We're going to bring our front leg at 90 degrees. Doesn't matter where our back leg is, you can bring it at any position because it's not our working leg. And we're going to place our hand on our front knee and gently lean forward for 10 seconds. And then what we're going to do is activate our foot, pressing it into the ground for 10 reps. It's a really small movement. And then after 10 reps, relaxing forward for 10 seconds. And then we're going to activate that foot, pressing it down into the ground whilst we hold our knee down. Once you've done 10 reps, then we're just going to relax forward. You can bring that elbow onto the knee if you've got a range of motion. Taking deep breaths into this stretch. Going to swap sides, making sure that our front leg is at 45 degrees from our body. So forward, then our shin 90 degrees to our thigh. Putting our hand on our knee and relaxing forward. And hold that for 10 seconds and then do 10 activations, pressing our foot into the ground. It's a really, really small movement. We're basically activating the muscles that we're stretching. So then when we stop activating, we should come deeper into the stretch. So what we're doing is holding for 10 seconds, doing 10 activations, holding for 10 seconds, doing 10 activations, and then holding for another 10 seconds. Only working to within our range. So that's Modified Pigeon, and to finish off Mindful Prehab, we're going to come into our last stretch, which is Frog. Got a love-hate relationship with Frog. What we're going to do is come onto our knees, spread our legs, and it's good to be on a comfortable position for this to protect your knees. Coming onto our elbows, and just finding a comfortable position that we can hold. Our activation in this position is coming forward and back. 10 slow movements forward and back. Once we've done our 10, then we're just going to relax for 10 seconds. Then we're going to do another 10 activations, 10 little forward and back motions, not pressing too far, still needs to be fairly comfortable, and then holding for 10 seconds. And then to come out of this pose, come up onto your hands and slowly bring your legs together, not too fast. and that's Mindful Prehab. That's the end of the session, and I'm hoping that you feel calm yet activated. I'd love to know how you're feeling, so pop a comment down below. As I mentioned at the start, I have made a Spotify playlist and a downloadable PDF of all the exercises. You can find both of these in the description below. And I do plan on making more of these videos, so if you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button for more videos in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again.